litigation or anything, then the court can actually unseal those documents. And so I speak in favor of this. This is routinely done now.
Okay. All in favor of adding this language, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it. It's adopted. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, David Westbrook, SG26. It looks like there's some duplicative language. The last sentence, we believe, it's repeated in the middle of the plank as well.
I think the part in yellow is the new one.
See, it's linked to expeditors to seek.
Is this a replacement?
Yeah, I think that's, I think it's a replacement.
Yeah, it's a replacement. Okay.
It only basically adds a clause.
Okay, here's the rest of the things that were submitted. Standardized testing, Texas should immediately use the end of the STAR program, which we talked about. Oh, no, wait. What have I got here? This is something. Yep, so this is education transparency. We support. I'm sorry.
Well, I wanted to offer a new plank in education transparency, if that is the right time.
Okay, yep.
So that it would read, in order to achieve increased transparency and accountability in what is happening in our schools and allow parents a better control about their concern about the curriculum offered and the safety afforded to their children, we propose the implementation of cameras in all the classrooms.
Do you have that written down, Suzanne?
Yes,
David, could you grab that and bring that up here,
Yes.
please?
I can rewrite it better.
Maybe you said no.
Might be louder.
So while the secretary's putting that in, let's take a quick 5-minute break. Okay.
wish I was.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have unfortunately just gotten some bad news. Not terrible news, but it affects our business. The deadline's been moved up basically quite a bit. We have to finish our document. It has to be out to the printer by 9:15. That's substantially earlier than I thought it was going to be. So that means we have to finish, I'm trying to figure out exactly when, but we have to finish our business probably by 8:30. So that means we have to approve the whole thing, no more changes, no more anything. Whatever we have at 8:30. I know, but you're only going to have 45 minutes. I mean, I can't give you more time than that. I'm in the middle of the session, and it's already 7:30. So we'll try to be. We need to try and go faster because every minute we take up, the editors lose. Okay. So we have. I know. So we're not. I'm not going to hear anything else new. We'll consider the motion that's on the floor right now that we've just typed up. Ms. Guggenheim, do you want to speak to your motion?
I think it's very important for parents to know what is going on in the classroom. The teachers are being told when in the classroom the kids belong to them. I know they don't belong to the parents. The parents have the right to sit in the classroom and they can't.
Where's the language?
And if they cannot sit in the classroom, they should be afforded the possibility of watching what is going on with the classroom. This is important for what's going on between the children and the teacher, between the different children themselves. It's also important for the teacher security. I see in our little city of Corpus Christi right now, 40% of the teachers do not want to go back to teach next fall because of insecurity. I think it's everybody's benefit, and transparency and accountability are important.
Okay. Is there any testimony against?
Speaker, as much as I don't want to disagree.
Will,
Go ahead.
quick.
There's a federal law that requires permission of parent in terms of taking pictures of kids. I'm worried this is going to be an unfunded mandate to some of our small school districts. And also there are a lot of our delegates are very concerned about privacy issues. Some school districts have cameras in the classroom, but I'm a little bit nervous about mandating something because we have over 1,000 school districts and they come in all shapes and sizes, which is why I'm opposed to this.
Okay. So you know their testimony. All in favor of accepting this language, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Nay. The nays have it. That concludes higher education. We'll look at Health and Human Services now.
No, I had education.
Mr. Chairman, Byrd 25, I think the next section is higher education, is it not?
Oh, I thought we just finished higher education.
No, that was education.
Or Health and Human Services, excuse me.
Yes, sir, thank you.
I apologize. I have an amendment I'd like to offer on the homosexuality plank under homosexuality and gender issues. Did you get there? You there? I want to add the following short sentence. Homosexuality is an abnormal lifestyle choice, period. And then it says, we believe there should be no granting of blah, blah, blah. Second by Franklin. We believe. Yeah. Homosexuality is an abnormal lifestyle choice. quickly, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a choice. We had the debate 20 years ago, the people asserting that it was people were born that way. That has been scientifically proven to be wrong. It's a lifestyle, and it's abnormal because of math, basically. If you do a survey of any population, sizable population, and you create the mean, you have a standard, a normal curve with a standard deviation, one standard deviation away in any direction. You encompass 68% of the population. Every single person inside that area that encompasses 68% of the population, every single one of those people is a heterosexual. When you start getting people who are homosexual or any of the other groups, LGBTQ plus whatever, they're all going to be actually 2 or more standard deviations away. So it's not only is it not normal, it's extremely abnormal. And it's a clear factual statement, and it sets up as a predicate to all the other things that we talk about here. So that's why I'm putting it in. Anybody want to speak against? Mr. Vaughn?
I know you're all surprised, right? Look, I have not spoken against any other of these planks on homosexuality. A lot of these things have been agreed to with Texas Values and others coming to a long conversation on these things. We don't just call, look, abnormal, yes, by scientific, mathematical definition, you are correct. And then we can put in Vietnamese Americans, because they're a very small percentage of America, are abnormal. This is meant to be insulting language. It's not. It does nothing for policy. It does nothing to move us forward. And honestly, it's a little insulting to drop this on this body right after you say we don't have a lot of time to discuss other planks. This is, I'm sorry, but we have gone through this. If you wanted to do this yesterday, we had more time to discuss. That's fine, but dropping this on this committee right now, after these things have been so hard fought, after honestly something I deeply disagree with, I've ignored, I've allowed through, not been part of this at all, and then to come through this, it's harmful, it's hurting. I was called a pedophile outside. Somebody screamed pedophile at me because I'm a gay man. I'm a member of this committee. I was unanimous. I'm sorry, I shouldn't get this emotional. I'm a member of this committee. I have been committed to this party. I have walked every weekend. These sorts of insults, I get it. We're against gay marriage. That's fine. I get that we're not there. That's okay. Personal insults, movements like this, should be beyond the pale of this party. It does nothing for love. It does nothing for policy. It does nothing for the gospel. It does nothing to move us forward as a party and gain voters. There are people screaming at people outside. There are people that are consistently harming and insulting people. I have never been treated like that at this party before. And we shouldn't be surprising people with this. If you had this language, you knew I was going to have an issue with this, you should have had the dignity. Every criminal justice reform issue I've gone to the sheriff, and me and him have talked about it. We don't always agree, but we've talked. Me and Will have talked about it. We've respected each other by doing that. This is disrespectful. That's all I'm going to say.
Anyone else in favor? Anyone else opposed?
You want me to speak at 4?
4, Diana?
And I'm speaking for this amendment, not because I don't love people who happen to love in a different way than I do. This amendment has to do with the difference between choice and being born into a subset. I know he mentioned Vietnamese. They would be born Vietnamese. I know this might sound silly, but I have freckles. I don't just because I have freckles and somebody else doesn't, I can't control a whole lot about that. I don't require special legal entitlements, and I appreciate the wording. But again, it is not based on us not loving first. That's what we're supposed to do.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to speak against.
Yep. Mr. Garcia?
As you remember, in 2018, this plank, or actually the mirror of this plank in state affairs, there was a lot of fighting over it. The wording that we came to was after a lot of debate and a lot of talking between all parties, conservatives, others who wanted to take it in a more liberal direction, Texas values, and the wording we came to was a clear affirmation of biblical morality and traditional marriage. And that was something that after several days, that was something that everyone could live with. And, you know, I would echo, to drop this at the end and blow up what had been agreed on, I mean, that is not the right thing to do. I would encourage you to withdraw your amendment. If you remember in 2018, everyone knew we had this debate. People were able to come and testify. And, you know, this is not the way with 40 minutes left, this is not the way to blow up language that a lot of people worked very hard on in 2018.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Any other comments? We have 1 for and 1 against left, if anybody wants to speak.
Mr. Chairman, Byrd 25, I'll speak for. Sometimes it's helpful when you're examining a phrase or a notion is to reverse the language. So here, the reverse language would be, homosexuality is a normal lifestyle choice. We believe that there should be granting of special legal entitlements or creation of a special status for homosexual behavior. I think you get my point. There's no way I would ever accept taking this language in reverse, which is what we'd be saying if we continue with the arguments against and accept it. It's just simply not true. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Dave Gebhardt, SD9.
Oh, yep, Dave.
I'd like to speak against only in that I've already submitted different wording to you and the secretary that I feel is less inflammatory. It's more positive about what we believe and what we stand for, and not about what we don't like and who we point our fingers at. So I would say let's go ahead and vote. I don't think this will pass, and I will immediately move my amendment to change the title of this section and the substance of this plank. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Testimony
point
is
of information.
concluded.
Senate District 17,
Who's got a point of information? Yeah, Caleb?
will you restate what we're voting for?
Yep.
Just so that every
Sure.
member knows what we're voting for?
Sure. The motion on the floor is to amend the homosexuality plank by adding the text that's in yellow. Homosexuality is an abnormal lifestyle choice. So a vote in favor is to add the language. No vote is to not add the language. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Nay. I think the ayes have it, but given the issue, do you guys want a division?
Do you want a division?
Hand vote? Okay, so if you're voting for adding this language, raise your hand. Yep. If you're opposed to adding the language, raise your hand. Motion passes 17-14.
Mr. Chairman, Byrd, 25. Before we leave higher education, just letting you know, I do have one that I've sent to Madam Clerk for consideration.
Is it really important? Because,
I have several.
we've got to give the editors time.
I can cover it very quickly.
Sir,
Okay.
I have several amendments.
We do not have time to take them.
But it's in education. If you allow him to do in higher education, it's in education.
What? Oh, it's this? Oh, Chris, is this you?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Chris.
Very quickly, there is a situation that I've become aware of over the last few weeks where we have medical students who are being forced to opt into abortion training and procedures and so forth when it's against their religious liberty and their conscience. What this would do would be to address that situation and reverse the current practice so that all students have opted out, meaning they start off where they do not have to automatically participate in abortion training and techniques and so forth, and then if they want that, they can opt in. That's the gist of it.
Okay. So do we have a second for this?
Tony Robertson, SD3, I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. It's adopted. I'm sorry, Diana, did you say you had something you wanted to add?
Yes, I have several amendments and a plank that I sent in yesterday before the 15-minute deadline, after, and I've sent them to everyone here, and I've sent them to both editors and to you, sir. And I would really love to be able to take those up.
Okay. While she's looking, she'll look for them, okay, for just a minute.
The only reason is that higher education, that subset, is a part of education. So you just allowed Mr. Byrd.
I hear you.
Is that one of them, foundation standards?
Is this on the screen, Diana? Is this what you're talking about?
Foundation standards?
Yes, that one would be an amendment to replace with the language that I just sent to Linda. It's language that I worked with Chairman Letts on. Since it's replacing, it's pretty long. There was also an amendment to enforcement of parental rights, which had to do with DAEP, and that's one that you called out earlier.
While we're looking at that, well, never mind. You got it? Yeah. Okay. All right, do you want to speak with this? Or do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to speak to this? Second by Cindy.
Once we heard testimony yesterday, we realized that we needed to clarify the language and also clarify the title, because there are curriculums that maybe use the term foundation, and we didn't want to look like we were choosing one over the other. Chairman Letts added some wonderful information in there as well, and he may want to speak for the amendment too. Now, this amendment, what you have in yellow, was actually from yesterday, and Chairman Letts and I worked earlier today on the new language that was emailed. So it's the most recent email from me.
Okay. Any other comments? Everybody had a chance to read it?
No, this is the prior version.
Do you have the current version? Is the current version in yellow? Foundational standards?
Yes, that's the current